walking.
Oh, that's terrible. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Municipal Land Use Board of the Borough of River Edge. It is Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. Time now is 7:32 p.m. This meeting of the Municipal Land Use Board of the Borough of River Edge is being held in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act and associated regulations. Notice of this meeting was published in the Bergen Record on January 8th, 2022. Posted on the front doors of Borough Hall, posted on the borough's website, and made available for review in the board clerk's office. A copy of the agenda for this meeting was made available for review on the borough's website near the posting of the meeting notice and in the board clerk's office. Please silence all cell phones. Please wait to be recognized by the chairperson during the meeting. When making public comments, please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address for the record. With that, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Esposito.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Styling, when you're ready, would you call the roll, please?
All right, Mr. Mayor is excused tonight. Mr. Caslin?
Here.
Ms. Boland? Here. Mr. Merman?
Here.
Mr. Pfeffer is absent at the moment. Mr. Cray is absent. Mr. Arkelian?
Here.
Councilman Canigo is absent. Mr. Gibbons is
He is excused.
Mr. Esposito?
Here.
Mr. Bastide?
Here.
All right, and also present is the board planner, Mr. Behrens, and Mr. Esposito and Mr. Bastide are seated to vote this evening.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. First item on the agenda this evening, we're going to move right to the, we don't have any minutes to approve this evening. We're going to move right to the memorialization. Tower Management, 680 Kinderkamack Road, Block 616, Lot 20. This was an application seeking approval for the installation of an emergency generator. A draft of the resolution was circulated to the board. Are there any comments?
Mr. Chairman, I think it should be noted that the resolution mentioned that the fire department would issue its comments, and we have received comments from the fire department.
Thank you for that. Yes, and everybody on the board should have received a copy of the email from the chief of the fire department, Greg Caridi, on Friday, July 22nd, having reviewed the application and the location, the proposed location of the generator, and no issues with its with the location selected.
You took that right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
I was just,
It's early. You may have another chance. Any further comments? All right, there being none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
oh, please. I motion to approve the memorialization.
Mr. Arkelian, thank you.
Second.
Mr. Merman, thank you.
All right.
Stanley, when you're ready, please.
Mr. Caslin?
Yes.
Ms. Boland?
Yes.
Mr. Merman?
Yes.
Mr. Arkelian?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Bastide?
Yes.
All right, the motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. Our next item this evening is a completeness review. The applicant is Jin Long for property of 117 Manning Avenue, Block 803 in Lot 7. The installation of a 6-foot fence on a corner lot with a front yard and applicable variances being sought. Mr. Behrens?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The application, I don't want to say it's that simple, but it is for a 6-foot fence in the front yard of a corner lot. I believe you've received a plan which shows the proposed location of the fence, and that's really it. So I think you have enough information to review this application and deem it complete to proceed this evening.
All right, and prior to the meeting, I reviewed the proofs submitted by the applicant and found them to be sufficient for the board to have jurisdiction to hear the application tonight.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Questions?
Looks good to me.
Okay. There being none, I'll entertain a motion to deem this complete.
Mr. Esposito's turn.
Mr. Esposito, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Arkelian will second.
You'll be sorry you're sitting there tonight.
Oh, no.
All right. And just for the record, Mr. Cray is here.
I apologize for my tardiness.
Good to have you, Mr. Craig. Good evening.
So this is for the completeness review for the new application for 117 Manning Avenue. Mr. Caslin?
Yes.
Ms. Boland?
Yes.
Mr. Merman?
Yes.
Mr. Cray?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Arkelian?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
And Mr. Bastide?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here? Okay, perfect.
Okay. We are going to move around the agenda slightly, just to deal with a couple of administrative items under old business as our next item of business. The first item under old business is 915 Kindercamack LLC, AKA Dunkin' Donuts. This is 915 Kindercamack Road, Block 206, Lot 4, seeking approvals for construction of a new Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-through. Ms. Steinle?
All right, the application for 915 Kindercamack LLC, 915 Kindercamack Road, Block 206, Lot 4, will be moved to a special meeting on Wednesday, August 31st at 7 PM in these chambers.
Okay.
So if you're here for the Dunkin' Donuts application, you'll have to come back on August 31st.
Taking no one's here for Dunkin' Donuts tonight. Okay. Next item under old business is ILBJ LLC, 335 Johnson Avenue, Block 1405, Lot 3. This is a request for extension of previously granted approvals, a third one-year extension of approval to construct an office building on the subject property.
All right, so this application was required to be noticed pursuant to NJSA 4055D-12A, and the applicant submitted acceptable proofs for the board to hear the request tonight. So if you come forward.
Gentlemen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Entering my appearance for the record, John Bettery Jr., 3 University Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey. To my left is Mr. Steve Iannuzzi. He's the managing member of ILBJ. I think you remember Mr. Iannuzzi from the virtual meeting where there was a request for an extension. This will be the third extension, hopefully the last extension. As we all know, we've dealt with the pandemic and supply chain issues and labor costs. We're committed to the project, however, need an extension. The current approvals are expiring on August 11th, I believe, and we are here tonight to answer any questions that you have. Mr. Iannuzzi is here to answer any questions, and we are respectfully requesting an extension of the approvals.
Questions from the board? Mr. Bastide?
No.
Mr. Craig?
I guess the main question is, what's the plan for construction start and completion?
And I'll just swear you in if you're going to provide any testimony. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address for the record.
Sure. Stephen, with a PH, Iannuzzi, I-A-N-U-Z-Z-I. I'm a resident in South Florida at 16681 Southwest 84th Court, Palmetto Bay, Florida. And the zip code is 33157. I'm also part-time resident in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Part of the year I spend up here in the Northeast.
Thank you, Mr. Iannuzzi. The commissioner has asked a question. Maybe just give a little bit of an overview, augmenting what you did at the last meeting and a little discussion on the plan going forward.
You know, unfortunately, right when we thought, the COVID pandemic was in the rearview mirror, up sprang its ugly head, and we had first the Delta variant, which set us back considerably, and then when we thought again.
I'm sorry, could you use the microphone?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you.
Hello? Does it work?
Where's the microphone for that table?
You could use that.
Louder.
You could use this one. We have to record it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Hello? Hello?
That's not on.
Yeah.
Just bring that over. Bring that one over. Colin, why don't you come up? I don't think he's coming. Okay,
So initially, we thought the pandemic was in our rearview mirrors, and unfortunately, then the first variant popped its head up and set us back again considerably. And then after that, a second variant, the Omicron, set us back even further. And during this 2.5-year period, of course, family businesses took a real pounding. And at first, we thought we would have 3 casualties on our hands, but luckily, we sold off 1, and the other 2 have survived so far. And in 2.5 years, ordinarily, our core business, which is exposition, trade show management, we'd organize 3, sometimes more events per year. And we were only able to run our first event the first week of June since 2019. So the financial hammering really took its toll on us. And to date, we have invested in this project just about $2 million. It's been considerable investment, not only in acquisition costs, but soft costs, development costs, and so on down the road. So we're committed. We'd very much like to move forward. And I wrote a letter to the board's attorney where I tried to outline, to the best of my ability, the circumstances leading up to our request tonight. And I think the 3 biggest issues are very straightforward and very clear, and that is going back to recost materials and supply issues on sourcing materials and vendors. Again, having to redo our entire financing package, which again presents all kinds of hurdles along the way now that the Fed is doing what they're doing. And we have had commitments previously, and again, those earlier commitments, of course, are under review again. And last but not least is our expert managers, and trying to put them back in place and get them focused in moving the project forward. So that's kind of where we are, and firmly committed. And again, the costing has been
And expect that another extension will not be required. To answer the Commissioner's question,
Yeah.
that commencement should start within this year, should the board grant the extension.
Yeah, I don't see anything that would interfere right now looking forward whatsoever. And again, it's just been it's been a tremendous disappointment for us, as anyone can imagine, especially with the commitment not only in dollars but in our time and our efforts and so on.
Thank you.
Mr. Craig? Good. Okay. Mr. Gary?
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Morrow?
This extension is for 1 year?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Our current approvals will lapse in on or around August 11, I
Do
believe.
you have hard financing already?
We have had.
Have had, you don't have it now.
It's in process right now.
What makes you think that you're not going to be standing here again 1 year from today with the financial markets the way they are?
Well, initially, Mr. Merman, this project was not going to require financing. This project was going to be, again, financed through family resources. And it was not until the issue of, having issues with our business being operational with the COVID pandemic, did we then, again, look into the market for potential financing options.
The last time you were here,
Excuse me?
I made a statement that I was going to approve your extension, but I didn't want to see you back. I stand on that. I do not want to see you back here again. It's not fair to the town. You're tying up a valuable piece of land for many, many years, and I don't see you going forward. I pass.
Mr. Esposito?
I pass.
No question.
Okay. If we were to, the board were to approve this application, would you be willing to accept as a condition that the lot be cleaned up?
Oh, yes, of course.
It's right now a tremendous eyesore, both on the streetscape and the lot itself. So to the point where it looks like it's derelict in ownership.
We've made an attempt, actually, when we were anticipating, getting on the agenda, we made several attempts to contract someone prior to the meeting. And unfortunately, we didn't have enough lead time to get that done. It's in the works, and it'll probably be done between today and by Friday of next week, it'll be done, cleaned up. And again, it's been cleaned up on a regular basis. It hasn't been done this year only because of mitigating circumstances in my personal schedule with travel.
Gotta be honest with you, it doesn't look like it's been done at all.
Oh, it's been done on an annual basis.
Okay. If we put a time limitation to get that done,
Yeah, it can be done, again, straight off.
15
And
days.
I could communicate with the board directly to prove that it's been cleaned up, take photographs or something like that. It'd be a pleasure to do.
Mr. Chairman, to that end, are there any specifics to that request, like silt fence, fencing, or anything?
it looks like there's temporary fencing up there.
Yeah, there is fencing there. It's been in place, and there was silt fence in place when the building was raised at the initial demolition phase of the project.
The tree pits and the front tree boxes on the sidewalk are completely overgrown. So I guess whatever necessary to make
We'll clean it all
clean.
up.
So within what time frame? Because then we'll issue a violation if that's not.
Well, if you're already working on it,
Yeah,
I'd like
we
to
already-
hold you to it. 15 days would be sufficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comments? Any further comments?
Yeah, follow-up question. There was a condition in the last extension that any delinquent property taxes had to be addressed prior to issuance of any building permit. I don't remember if there was a particular issue there, but are there any issues with delinquent property tax or any?
The taxes are fully paid and up to date.
was previous.
Yeah.
That was problem last
It was
year.
last
We're
time,
not
right?
aware of any issues on that particular issues. So.
But that will remain a condition.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a receipt if you'd like to submit it, but they have been paid.
Okay. Okay, on that, give Mr. Costa, if there are no further comments, questions, I will,
You can open to the public.
okay. Let's open to the public, see if there's anybody here to speak
So
on this.
moved.
Thank you, Mr. Arcelian. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Curry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, we're now open to the public just for this particular application only. Is there anybody here for IBLJ 335 Johnson Avenue? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Mr. Arcelian?
Second?
Mr. Berman, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, any abstained? We're now closed to the public. At this time, I'll entertain a motion on the application.
Mr. Chairman, based on some of the things we've heard tonight and the fact that the place has fallen out of disrepair, I guess, for lack of better words, and we do have an assurance that it's going to be fixed, I'm almost conflicted in allowing for a 1 year without knowing that work has been done. And I would counter-propose to the applicant that we would give him a 60-day extension today, based on a report back from Mr. Behrens that the work has been completed to his satisfaction, and at that time, extending it an additional 10 months, so you have your 1 year extension. And this would force compliance on the applicant to clean up that property, because I agree, I drive by there quite a bit, and it is an eyesore, and it's been an eyesore for a long time. I don't know if council would be willing to accept that condition?
I think, from my perspective, procedurally, it would, if it's a condition, and if that condition is not met, then the extension is not valid. So if, rather than have a threshold for the board to have another vote and have additional notice and take up additional time of the board, that we would agree in the resolution as a reasonable condition placed upon the applicant to include that we have 15 days from the date hereof in order to clean up the lot to the reasonable satisfaction of the planner or the engineer or the maintenance officer as a condition, and that's the bite. So our extension is conditioned upon that. So I think, sir, it gets you what you're looking for, and it doesn't put additional procedural time on the board or the applicant.
Well, I'm just, because if in 60 days it's not approved, then we're going to have to reconvene anyway, and now we're going to have to revoke our approval, which could be a little bit more difficult. Ms. Stenley?
So as
Give
a
me some help here.
if we go with the 15-day time frame for cleanup as a condition of the approval, the extension, and they don't meet that 15-day requirement,
60, right?
15.
15, okay.
if they don't meet the 15 days and Tom reports back, our next meeting is 14 days away, so we might have an update by then. Then the 1-year approval is void.
Tom, are you okay with that?
It's up to it sounds
But you're okay
reasonable.
with,
Yeah, oh, yeah, we'll go out on day 14. Hopefully the applicant will let us know,
Hopefully it'll be done
Absolutely.
before it's
Yeah.
memorialized, and you'll know, I think you have a meeting on August 10th
10th.
to memorialize the resolution, so hopefully it's done by then, and we'll use all good faith, best efforts to do
then
that.
I'm okay with that,
Okay with that?
Chairman. So in that case, based on the comments that were just made and the agreement that's been made with the applicant, I would move forward that we approve this applicant to be carried for another year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Arkelian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito. Ms. Steinle, when you're ready.
All right, Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Merman,
Abstain.
Mr. Cray,
Yes.
Mr. Arkelian,
Yes.
Mr. Esposito,
Yes.
Mr. Bastide.
Abstain.
All right, the motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thanks, members of the board.
Okay, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item this evening on the agenda, we're going to move to new business. This is Jin Long, 117 Manning Avenue, Block 803, Lot 7, seeking variances for the installation of a fence on a corner lot front yard. Good night.
Good night, Councilmember and Chairman.
Okay, before you start, would you just move the microphone closer to you
Yeah, sure.
and just,
All right, I'm going to
Yes,
swear
swear
you
you
in. Okay, if you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
All right, and please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address for the record.
My name is Jin Long, Jan. My last name is Jan, Jian. I live in 117 Manning Avenue, River Edge, New Jersey.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Councilmember and Chairman. It's honored to be here to present my application to all the council members. So we bought this house in 2015, and we really love the property, but we spent our money and after buying it. And the original fence was 4 feet with wire fence, and my wife hated it because all the traffic can see through our property, especially our property is right across the gas station. The guy walking here and see our activity all the time. So it's our wish to get a 6 feet fence on our backyard to have better privacy. So that's why we save a couple of years and we have enough money to try to put on 6 feet fence. So based on the application, I think there's a misunderstanding. So this is, I'm not sure you can see this clearly. This is my front yard.
Did you previously submit the photos with the application?
I submit a photo, but it's not with my front. This is a new photo because I received the letter And I think I better address here like this.
Okay, on each of the photos, can you mark it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then,
Sure. Oh, thank you. This is number 1. Number 2. This is number 3. This number 4. Okay.
all right, and at the end, I'll take a copy.
Yeah, sure. So the first photo is actually my front yard.
So that's standing on the corner of
Yes,
Kindermack Road
and Manning.
and Manning, looking at the front of your.
Yeah. So I'm not putting fence in my front yard.
So you, just to be clear, you're not putting a fence on the Manning Avenue side?
No.
Okay.
So the second photo is my original. It's hard to see. It's a 6 feet wire fence in the existing property. It's on my backyard. And I'm going to put 6 feet fence in the existing, replace existing fence. And this photo 3 shows from the inside of my property of the backyard.
Sir, would you mind circulating those?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry. This is the first one.
Yep.
This is the second one. This third one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the zoomed picture of the survey I have in the application. So here, the marked area is existing fence. That's where I'm going to put my 6 feet fence. So I'm going to submit the photo here. This is the current fence. I just zoom in.
Okay,
It's the same as the survey.
got it.
So yeah, this is just my request to the fence installation in my backyard actually, not front yard.
Can you specify the style of fence? Are you looking for a solid vinyl fence or
Yeah, solid vinyl fence.
white vinyl?
Yeah. When we go down the Kindermack Road, actually a lot of property they have beautiful 6 feet wide vinyl fence. So I'm going to put the same to make my property beautiful.
Sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Long, you submitted some photos of those properties.
Yes.
Do you have those? Maybe you want to walk the board through what
Yes.
you submitted?
Yes. So on the application, I submit some photos from the different property along Kindermack Road, the last 2 page. So you can see 588 Clarington, 568, 584, 582. They all have 6 feet fence along Kindermack Road, and also 576, 565. And in the page, the 588 and the 565 are corner lot, similar like Manning. On the last page, there's additional photos. One is from 118 Manning, corner lot. It's right across other side of Manning. And they have 6 feet vinyl fence in their backyard. So 110 Voorhees Avenue, corner lot. 115 Voorhees corner lot, and only my backyard is 117. Is 6 feet. So I just want to do the same thing with other properties.
Mr. Barron's?
So the situation is, as represented by Mr. Long, I think this is one of those policy questions that we discussed with other ordinance amendments that are being contemplated. One being whether or not the current 3-foot height requirement for fences in the front yard on a corner lot is too low, perhaps. I know the board's approved at least up to 4 feet in front yard situations that are open style. I guess the question in this case would be whether or not there are any unique attributes worth considering. One being, I think that was offered, that A, it's along Kinderkamak Road, B, that it's across from the gas station. I think if you go up and down Kinderkamak Road, there are probably 20 or 30 properties with this condition, so I think you have to consider the bigger picture in terms of what makes sense here, whether or not that makes sense in other locations, or if this is specifically a unique situation. I'm aware that there are a number of 6-foot-high fences along the Clarendon Court properties. I think those are somewhat different in that they're through lots, in that, truly they're functional rear yards that abut Kinderkamak Road, and it's kind of a straight line. Is there an element of a hardship here? I think perhaps. I'll leave it to the board. So I guess the question is, what's the better alternative here? A 4-foot-high fence with planting that gives Mr. Long his, sought-after privacy, or do you grant the 6-foot-high fence? One other alternative could be if you bring the fence in the front yard a little further in, maybe you could plant in front of it. But again, I think it's one of those policy questions that we need to try to figure out, and maybe this helps us get there. And Mr. Long, just so, I can clarify one thing. I understand that functionally, this area is you use as your backyard.
Yeah.
But anything between the house and the street on both sides is considered front yard. So this whole area is technically a front yard.
Oh, you mean this one?
Right. Anything from the face of the house to the street. And that's how, I would say, most towns that we represent treat corner lots from a fencing perspective. So, one suggestion I just offered was maybe that part of the fence goes in a little bit, maybe planting in front. I mean, these are alternatives. One alternative is no relief, stick with the 3-foot-high fence, and that's what it is. Another relief is that, or if you were to grant some relief, maybe you go with a fence that's lower than 4 feet, but lower than 6 feet, supplemented with planting, or you grant the 6-foot-high fence as represented, or you grant that with planting in the front. To me, those seem
I
to be the
understand
four
this
alternatives.
part.
So,
This
hopefully
part
that
here.
clarifies.
All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barron.
Situation.
Go around the board. Questions, Ms. Boland? Start with you.
I don't really have any questions, but I know that there's other fences along Kinderkamak, but I don't think that they look nice. I would prefer if it could be moved in and have some landscaping. That would just be something I would prefer.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Esposito?
4-foot height, I think would be okay also. I don't know about going 6 feet, so I'm not sure.
You 4 feet with landscaping
Yes,
behind?
with
Okay.
the landscaping.
Okay. Mr. Bustede?
No questions.
Mr. Cray?
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand what it is you're planning. If I look at the site plan, the cyclone fence starts, next to the, I guess it's a patio of the house, and it runs down to Kinderkamak Road, okay? And then you're replacing the cyclone fence along Kinderkamak Road.
Yes.
Are you also looking to replace the cyclone fence coming back along the property line and coming back to that, towards the house? With 6 foot?
Can I stop over? I couldn't try to understand what.
Yeah, I wanna understand, so you're gonna replace this with 6-foot fence, correct?
Yes, also.
Well, okay, so, and this adjoins a neighboring property?
Yeah.
And this adjoins a neighboring?
This is not. This is already 6-foot fence with installed by other property. So I'm going to here, and one side here, and this side here.
And you want 6 foot on all of that?
Yeah,
What's back here?
it's a neighbor.
Okay, so what's the hardship here compared to any other person in the neighborhood with a,
No, this is just a 119 neighbor. My neighbor living 119 Manning.
okay, and what is the,
Permitted in the rear yard.
what can we do in the rear yard? Can they go 6 foot? Is 6 foot allowable here?
Asking why.
Mr. Behrens, 6-foot fence is permitted in the rear yard.
Side and rear yards.
So,
right?
yeah,
The issue is
okay,
that-
so then the only area that actually needs variance then is along Kindercomack, is that correct?
No,
And the return.
And on
Return to the house and
return to the
along
house.
Manning.
the,
Oh,
well.
on Manning, yes, okay.
so I don't have fence on the Manning side. No fence will be installed on the Manning side.
You're not changing, Manning?
No changing in Manning, nothing in happening in Manning.
There's no fence on the Manning Avenue side.
No fence, you're not gonna install, so this would be the only place that
Yeah.
a 6-foot fence requires a
Yeah.
variance.
Let's review that, because you got me confused now.
Tom, we're a little confused. Just go over this. Where exactly is the fencing going? Can you hold up
My understand, do you have your sketch? My understanding is that it's going exactly where the existing
Yes.
chain link fence is, and there's kind of a hatching.
Right,
So nothing on Manning.
So he's
Nothing on Manning.
he's
That's on-
essentially
that's on Manning.
substituting
That's
what's there
considered
now.
Manning.
right.
Oh, this is,
They're considering that Manning, so
Okay.
that is,
that is considered Manning?
This is
Let
front
me
yard.
see that sketch, because I hope that,
What if you put,
6 foot
I
high
just
here,
want to
6
show
foot height in?
what if you put
Oh, right.
planting in front of it and move this back?
We'll get there.
that's just, that's Kindercomack,
just
right?
Yeah,
this.
this is Kindercomack,
Yes.
and also some fence.
Yep.
Bring you out of town on a pitchfork.
Right.
It's like a chain
I
link
agree.
Nothing up here.
Yeah, right now it's a wired fence.
Let's see
I'm
what we
trying
can
to
do.
replace
in the
it.
same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I make a,
Right here.
take this one.
Sir?
So Tom, so he's essentially substituting the fence that's there
Another one
now.
down.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lower
Down.
fence, right? So it'd be going up.
Locationally, yes.
Same thing on the corner.
That looks okay.
Of course, that's what you want.
Do you want to see the picture?
Oh, no, we saw him. Thank you.
Okay.
Unless somebody else wants them?
No. Mr. Cray, you,
Right, and again, I just want to make sure I've got this understood. The cyclone fence that starts against the house and runs out to Kindercomack, that cannot be a 6-foot fence because that's on a front yard. Going along Kindercomack is a front yard, that cannot be a 6-foot fence. Coming back along the property line between the two properties, that's a side yard or a backyard, that can be 6
Walk
foot?
around and try to attempt to
Yeah,
just.
because I want to make sure I understand where the 6 foot is allowed and where the variance is being asked
This
for.
is the area in question. Well, I'm telling you, that's it.
Yeah, so
right.
this also,
Right, that's part of the fence.
yeah.
Actually, if I draw a perpendicular. So this, where I outlined in blue pen is the area in question. Anything else can be 6 feet.
Can be 6 foot, okay,
So if that
okay,
helps.
yes.
The blue
That-
area.
That's exactly what I wanted to know.
That's
The
area.
blue area is only allowed 3 feet or 3 feet?
The return to the front yard. Can I make a suggestion while you're holding that? Mr. Chairman, I suggest that we put in the record the marked copy, just marked by our borough planner
no,
as an exhibit.
as an exhibit,
That'll be
What do you want to call this, Marina?
exhibit 5.
5.
I just have one question before I hand it off to you. Is there any,
Well, hold on.
He's not done.
oh,
I'm
I'm
good.
sorry.
I'm
Oh,
good.
I thought he
I
was.
got my question
Okay.
asked.
Tom, are there any line of
But thank
sight
you.
issues?
No, it's placed far back from the corner. So I would say one difference from this, and, it's a corner lot, it doesn't come to the intersection. It's quite a distance from the intersection, maybe about, I'm just guessing, 75 feet, or, at least 50 feet from the intersection. So there's no issues with sight distance and turning onto Manning or Kindercomack. So
I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Mr. Berman?
Let's go back to the pictures that you submitted with your application. No, you can stay there.
Okay.
You submitted pictures that are the rear yard of Clarendon Court as it backs onto Kindercomack.
Okay, yeah.
There are 6-foot high vinyl fences there. However, it's a rear yard. It's not a front yard, it's a rear yard. It's a front yard. Those existing Clarendons are rear yards.
I think technically they would still constitute a front yard.
I can't hear.
I think technically they would still constitute a front yard because they're directly on Kindercomack Road.
Okay.
They function as a rear yard, but just Yeah, I know this is being technical. It's a through lot, it's a through lot with two frontages, basically. It's not an ideal situation, but it was created, decades ago, and it is what it is.
Okay. When we start at Monroe Avenue, go south, as you've noted, there is almost a continuity of fencing along that Kinderkamak property. Now, when I say that, it's basically 6 foot high. It's pre-existing, and in my estimation, it's an eyesore. I think Mr. Costa, in his report, referred to a photo he submitted on his last page, and he shows where a corner lot can have a low fence with very high landscaping or screening behind. Your main concern is screening. There's no reason why you cannot use the same concept.
So, can I explain?
Sure.
Yeah. So, the property on my backyard property, there's a lot of trees, mainly existing trees, along the property lines, and basically there is no sunshine can go through. So I try to plant some trees before they actually not growing well, and that's why it's, I think, that's why I want to get the 6 feet fence for better privacy for my family, and also when you're walking down the Kinderkamak Road, my fence is the most ugly one. It's I think it's better to me and also to the township to bring this fence to to beautiful vinyl. That's the purpose. I did plant pine trees on the backyard. It doesn't grow very well. A lot of them died.
My response is do a little creative landscaping. You can work high shrubbery in with your trees, and it'll look very nice. It will also conform to the ordinance. I don't think from this particular board member, if I want to hearing from the others, I'll let them speak for themselves, that this board, at least this member, is not going to approve a 6 foot high vinyl fence right down the middle of Kinderkamak. So, go back and consider. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I would agree with the statement made. I think the alternative that's shown in Mr. Costa's report, which is actually right across the street from your property, would actually make the entire area, it would improve it, and I think it would ultimately give you the...
So the tree actually is in his front yard. His backyard is also 6 feet, vinyl fence.
Yeah, but there's a much shorter fence. That's not a 6 foot fence on Kinderkamak.
But his backyard is also facing Kinderkamak Road. I have the paper here on my application. 118 Manning is 6 feet vinyl fence.
Your choice.
Fences.
So the 3 foot fence actually is in his front yard. His backyard is also 6 feet fence facing Kinderkamak Road.
Mr. Costa, would the rear of your photo 2, this 6 foot fence in the back, would that have been considered the front yard, or is that?
Here's a question, maybe just to, the spirit of cooperation, maybe, I forget which board member said, go to 4 feet. Maybe in this case, go to 4 feet, at least there'll be some protection from the gas station, I would imagine, with if it's a solid fence, and then put plantings. Trim the trees. If they're town trees, then you have to deal with shade tree, obviously. but that would be my recommendation to the board. This is what I'm here, I'm trying to help you right now.
Yeah, I
Because you know
understand.
what I think it is?
Yeah.
It's either something or nothing. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I
don't know if
understand.
you're hearing the same thing.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand.
Should we open to the public? Take a motion?
So made.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Any members of the public wishing to be heard on this application? There being none, accept the motion to close to the public, please.
Second.
You're first.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? We're now closed to the public on this application. At this time, I will entertain a motion on the application.
But before there's a motion made, I would just ask the applicant, you've heard the recommendations from our planner, from our engineer.
Yeah.
Are you willing to change your application accordingly? Or do you want to go ahead with the 6-foot fence and take your chances with the board?
So from my preference, I really want to 6 feet fence. And when you look at those pictures along Kinderkemack, some of them are corner lot almost the same as mine. And so I know case by case might be different, but I think the corner lot should be treated the same way. If all the corner lot were in Voorhees and 118 Manning, they can have the 6 feet fence. And also in the front page, as a corner between Kinderkemack Road and the Monroe Street, it's 588 Clarendon Street. It's all 6 feet fence. This is really something I want to install. I really appreciate all the comments, all the members have suggestions, but for me, I prefer 6 feet fence.
So you wish to take your chances with the
Yeah.
the approval for 6 foot?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I believe according to Robert's rules, it has to be a motion on acclamation. So I will make a motion to approve the 6-foot fence as requested.
Second.
Okay, we have a first Mr. Alkalian and a second from Mr. Cray. You can do it.
Okay.
Was there a second? I didn't hear.
Mr. Cray.
All right, so the motion to approve the application with a 6-foot fence was made by Mr. Arkelian and seconded by Mr. Cray. All right, Mr. Caslin,
No.
Ms. Boland,
No, and I just want to explain that we did not approve those other fences as a board. So going forward, this is how we feel, and that's just an explanation of other people having it and why that might have occurred. But no.
Mr. Merman,
No.
Mr. Cray,
No.
Mr. Arkelian,
No.
Mr. Esposito,
No.
Mr. Bastide.
Oh, no.
All right, I'm sorry, the motion does not pass.
Okay, so what's the option I can do?
There would be no option at this point. You would have to reapply
I have to
And-
reapply.
to the whole, yep. That's why we gave you an option.
Okay.
I was trying to help you.
Okay, that's
Didn't
fine.
work.
All right, thank you.
Our next item this evening on the agenda is Paul I. Perkins and Belkis A. Almanzar Perkins, 311 Kinderkemack Road, Block 1004, Lot 26. This is a site plan approval application.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, comments with regard to the applicant.
You, Mr. Barrett.
Approved a subdivision some time ago and granted variances. And as a condition of the approval, required a site plan approval, and that's why we're here tonight. We did receive Mr. Costa's letter, and I think engineering is concerned. We will just go through the items that appear to still be open, and hopefully we're able to satisfy his concerns and any concerns of the board may have.
And for the record, Mr. Barrett did renotice for this hearing. and the proofs submitted were acceptable for the board to proceed tonight. All right, and we'll swear everyone in again since this is a renewed hearing. All right. Mr. McClellan, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And could you please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address?
Sure. It's Sean, S-E-A-N, McClellan, M-C-C-L-E-L-L-A-N, and business address is 101 West Street in Hillsdale.
And could you just remind the board of your qualifications?
Sure. I graduated from NJIT in 1997 with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. I've been a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey since 2004. I've testified in various boards in Bergen, Essex, Passaic, and Morris County, as well as in front of this board on this application.
Thank you.
What's that?
All right, Mr.
Mr.
Barrett,
Barrett?
you can go ahead.
So, Mr. McCarty, you had the opportunity to review Mr. Costa's comments?
I did.
Okay. The first one is the sanitary sewer line, so that'll be arranged prior to the construction and completion of the construction.
Yes, that'll be videotaped and video submitted.
And then, can you revise the plans to show the proposed utility connections?
Yes, we can. We will.
And if satisfactory, we'll just submit those to Mr. Costa for his approval, as well as the trenching details. The comment is perhaps that yard drains would be necessary to prevent excess runoff from the westerly lot reaching the easterly lot.
Right, yeah, so since the proposed lot 26.02 sits higher, and we have a retaining wall, we'll add a drain to make sure that we're not putting excess water on lot 2601.
And then, what drainage calculations did you do at this time?
Sure, so I'll call it the upper lot, lot 26.02. We provide a 1,000-gallon seepage pit to collect all the stormwater for the entire dwelling. For lot 26.01, we've added a 500-gallon seepage pit to collect all the stormwater runoff from the proposed additions.
And your calculations indicate that that's satisfactory and will collect all that water?
Yeah, so for 2601, about 750 gallons are required. We're providing about 1,400 gallons. And for lot 26.02, it's about, I do need to get glasses. 1,800 gallons is required, and we're providing 2,600 gallons. So we're providing excess of what's required.
Then what is the total height of the retaining wall, which includes the embedded blocks?
Sure, so we always like to keep retaining walls less than 4 feet, so we don't have to provide stability calculations. So there'll be no height of the retaining wall anywhere that exceeds 4 feet.
And that includes the embedded blocks?
The embedded, the face of the retaining wall will be 4 feet. We always try and embed about a foot of the retaining wall. So the embedded part will exceed 4 feet.
Okay, then the comment is that structural calculations will need to be provided.
Okay, and so we can provide those.
All right. And then again, you have to supervise the construction of the wall and a certification when it's completed that it's been constructed in accordance with the plan.
Correct.
Will you revise the plan to include the driveway and curb details for the new lots?
Yes. We do have the drop curb detail. I will provide a curb detail.
And then again, the comment is that the concrete details should be updated to show concrete being 4,500 PSIs, et cetera.
Well, yes, we can comply with that.
Alrighty. Where will the under drain for the retaining wall daylight?
So there's a curtain wall that runs along the entire frontage of 26.02, and it appears that that wall that's there now daylights through the curb into the street. We'll be modifying that wall slightly. Obviously, we'll be removing the portion that currently goes where the driveway is going to be on lot 2206. So we intend, if allowable, to continue to use that daylight drain.
And and then where will any pavers be installed?
Sure, so I put the paver detail on the plan. It doesn't say paver patio on the plan, but if you look at lot 26.02, we have a proposed deck with a patio under. Typically, most patios are done in pavers, so that's why the paver detail is on the plan.
And has an application been filed with the Bergen County Planning Board?
Yes, we filed the application, we've gotten feedback, they asked us to make a couple of notes on our plan, we've done that, and we've resubmitted, and we are awaiting approval.
I think that's all that Mr. Costa had. So, in essence, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as you just heard, any concerns that Mr. Costa has are going to be addressed and be submitted to him for his approval.
Mr. Barron's?
I did have, I guess, one question. It seems that the dwellings from, the plans from a planning standpoint haven't changed all that much and are compliant. I did have a question about the height of the retaining wall for proposed lot 26.02. I think, was that wall represented on the last version of the plans?
No, the subdivision plan was basically just a footprint of the house and the driveway and the patio.
Right, so you needed details.
Right, we didn't have any type of grading.
Right. So our ordinance isn't necessarily clear in this respect, but it refers retaining walls to comply with the heights of the fence section of the ordinance, so it's not really explicit. And there's a situation where it allows 3-foot-high fences in the front yard. It's been interpreted to also mean retaining walls. So in fairness to all, I raised that as a potential issue.
Okay, so we do have one point at the corner.
Right.
That's 4, so I'll regrade that to make sure that in the front yard, everything's less than 3 feet or less.
That's a good answer.
Mr. Costa?
I mean, basically, that's it. When they go to build this and pull a permit, you're gonna get a soil moving permit. And we further review the drainage at that point. If there's a problem, depending on the soil characteristics, you might have to increase the amount of drainage. That would be it. But based on what Tom and I just spoke about a minute and a half ago, it doesn't look like they're exceeding any of the variances that were granted. So the lot is the lot, and the board can go forward from there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Boland?
No questions.
Thank you.
No
Mr. Esposito?
questions.
Mr. Busty?
No questions.
Mr. Craig?
No question. I voted against this at the time it was passed. I'm not able to vote.
You can't vote, no, but you could participate and ask
Yep,
questions.
okay, no.
Mr. Eric Kelly?
Well, good.
Mr. Merman?
Yeah, I have one question. Actually, probably two. The site plan approval is for both lots, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Costa, do you have any concerns about traffic into and out of either driveway or both driveways as to restrictions of turning one way or?
Here's the good news. The county is gonna take jurisdiction over the first driveway, because they'll say
That's
it's
correct.
within 50 feet. I mean, it's a signalized intersection. I mean, they have a turnaround, basically, but in reality, they're probably gonna back into Howland. You are at a signalized intersection. I don't think it's gonna be, the driveway adjacent has the same issue. You have the apartments, and if you think what was there originally, it was a commercial structure there originally, so technically there should be a lot less movements. It wouldn't be the first time that it would be on a busy street, but right there, you're literally in between two signalized intersections. Bogut, Howland, Kinderkamak, Howland.
I thought in our prior application, we had also made.
Excuse me?
I thought in the previous application, we had made
There was discussion.
discussion. Okay.
All right, I'm not certain if there was any prohibition. I think what's going to happen, in reality, is who's ever using either driveway will wind up self-imposing as a matter of getting in and getting out in an orderly fashion. There are some safety issues there when that road ices. In the wintertime, there have been, as you probably well know, a couple of scenes last season. If we find there are problems, can we always somehow come back?
I'm not sure what you want to come back to,
We,
though.
the borough,
To do-
and put prohibition of turning in or out or whatever.
To prohibit like a left,
Yeah,
I don't believe you can, I don't think you can prohibit a left into a private driveway by state statute. Don't hold me to that, I'm not an attorney, but I believe you can't prohibit lefts into a private,
because
I don't think you can. I don't know local,
I have concerns and I foresee,
as what, if you're going eastbound to make a left into the driveway?
either way, in or out. Coming downhill, going left, or even trying to exit the driveway going downhill.
I mean, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head for that intersection, but I can't imagine there's not enough space between the two. You have two lights within probably 500 feet of one another.
As I said earlier, I think it's gonna wind up becoming self-police as a matter of convenience. I just hope that somebody doesn't get seriously hurt there. Okay.
I think it's far enough away from the intersection.
Believe I fall in the same category as Mr. Cray
Correct.
about voting.
Yes.
All right. That's it.
Okay. I just have one question for you. Can you just confirm again the runoff from lot 2602? Where is that? Is that going into the seepage pit?
So the entire roof, will go, the roof leaders into the seepage pit. Additionally, we're going to add a drain. If you look in the rear, we have a swale, and some of that water is going to be coming onto lot 2601. So we're going to put a drain there and tie that into the seepage pit as well to meet Mr. Costa's requirements.
Okay. And your estimations, your calculations, that seepage pit is going to be sufficient to handle?
Yeah, I'll rerun the calculation, but I can always add some more gravel around it to give it a little bit more capacity.
Okay. Just my concern is just what we've seen in town recently with weather being what it is, with runoff is a concern.
Yeah, especially lately.
Actually, when you bring it up, the calculations do say a 2-inch, and River Edge requires a 3-inch. So
Oh, you're a 3-inch now?
Well, really, if you think about it, last Monday, you could probably do 4 inches.
This
right?
is-
Four,
this-
4.5.
this is
I
true.
mean, And it seems like these things are happening, not on a daily basis, but it's happening certainly more often.
I can redesign for that 3-inch.
The only thing that, and again, this is on another case that we're not gonna bring up the address, with the retaining wall, and again, why we put that comment in there, just if you daylight a pipe, certainly you don't wanna force the water there, and the next thing you know, we get a 4-inch storm, and now you have a garden hose heading to this gentleman's house.
Right.
And I don't want that either. So, be aware of that situation. So, and again, during construction, we would address that stuff under the soil moving order.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Further comments or questions? We'll take a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Eric Kelly. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? There being none, we're now open to the public. I guess no comments, no questions. We'll take a motion to close the public, please.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? There being none, we're now closed to the public. Any further comments, questions from the board for entertaining a motion on the application?
Mr. Chairman, as most of this application has already been approved through the subdivision process, and it sounds like our professionals are on top of the drainage and the retaining wall issue, as long as you follow their recommendations, I make a motion that we approve this application.
Actually, Jim, you were not present at
I wasn't there.
the meeting,
Well, then,
so we'll have to have another motion. Sorry
I
about that.
stand corrected.
Okay, so why don't we do this?
So-
Who is eligible to vote on the,
Mr.
Which meeting weren't you at?
Mr. Caslin, Ms. Boland,
Gotta be it?
Mr. Caslin, Ms. Boland, Mr. Esposito.
Okay.
so
Mr. Pfeffer's not here.
Mr. Pfeffer's not here, that's it. Can we act on it?
That's three, and
So it's you three?
Yep.
So
So
what
I'll
do you
make the same motion that Mr. Arkalian made.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Boland, thank you, Mr. Esposito.
I thought I
I
counted
forgot that I
four, but
wasn't there for that.
Caslin, Boland, I thought Mr. Pfeffer was here because of the name, but no. All right, and Mr. Esposito. That's okay, we can do three.
All right.
All right, so the motion, Ms. Boland. And the second is Mr. Esposito.
And that was subject to, I'm sure Ms. Boland is making it subject to retaining wall being moved to 4 foot and the drainage being monitored by Mr. Costa. But I'm just guessing that's what you were saying.
I knew what you meant.
So I'll only call the vote for eligible members. Mr. Caslin,
Yes.
Ms. Boland,
Yes.
Mr. Esposito.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, in the special event that the Mets are playing the Yankees this evening, I would like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I would,
Let's do it.
let's do it. There's nothing else left?
That's
Mr.
right.
Arkalian? Any second? Mr. Merman, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? We stand adjourned.
All right.
Done.
You should,
Gonna win again, right?
Mets are winning.